I'm now joined by Senator John Barrasso, Republican from Wyoming. Senator, good to have you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nora.
You just heard Beth Clark, who is unemployed. She's a single mother. She has 2 kids, and the president says you're holding hostage workers like her.
Well, the president, of course, is playing politics. I wanted to have her paid over a month ago. I co-sponsored a piece of legislation that would extend unemployment benefits, but it was paid for with unused stimulus money, and that's the way to do this in a responsible way. I think all Republicans want to extend unemployment benefits, but one of the problems that she faces is the president's failed economic policy. He's told people if you voted for the stimulus, the so-called stimulus, that unemployment would stay at less than 8%. Well, people voted for it. I didn't, but they did, and unemployment still went to 10%. And that's why right now, even though Vice President Biden says the stimulus was such a success, fewer than 1 in 4 Americans believe him. It's just added to the debt, and we have very little to show for it, Nora.
I get it. Republicans are saying we're not for blocking unemployment benefits. We're just for paying for them in the right way. Let me ask you this. Are you for extending the Bush tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans? Yes or no?
I think that you should not raise taxes, which is what that would be, raise taxes to people when you're looking at 10% unemployment.
Okay,
I talked to small business owners.
So you are, Senator. Let me just continue this line of argument, though. You are for extending then the Bush tax cuts to the wealthiest Americans.
I'm for keeping taxes low.
How are you for paying for them?
keeping taxes low.
Are you for paying for them? Or are you for adding to the deficit in order to continue those tax cuts?
There is so much unspent stimulus money that we ought to use that in a responsible way, which is to help keep taxes low. People aren't hiring right now because there's so much uncertainty in the economy, Nora. There's uncertainty about health care expenses, taxes, cap and trade. If that comes down the line, increasing energy costs. Businesses are afraid to borrow money, and they're afraid to reach out and hire more people because of the state of the economy. And
Senator,
it's the policies of this administration that are making it worse.
Senator, I'm just trying to lay out here what I think if you say, as you are, that you're concerned about the size of the deficit, and there are a lot of Americans who truly are, and that you're not for extending unemployment benefits because you don't want to add $34 billion to the deficit, why then you're not also against adding money to the federal deficit by extending the Bush tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans? And that's, I think, that's a fair question.
I think it's a fair question because I think raising taxes right now is going to make it worse on the economy and add to unemployment. People in this country are focused on jobs, the economy, debt, and spending, and the president's been ignoring those things. And that's why less than 1 in 3 people in this country think that the country's heading in the right direction, in spite of what the president said in Las Vegas last week, that he said the country is heading in the right direction.
Senator, final question. Let me ask you something about a member of the Republican leadership, Jon Kyl, said. He said that extending unemployment benefits doesn't create new jobs. In fact, if anything, continuing to pay people unemployment compensation is a disincentive for them to seek new work. Do you agree with Senator Kyl, yes or no, that giving people unemployment benefits is a disincentive for them to seek work?
We want to help people that are out of work. I want to do that. I just want to make sure that it's paid for, and there's a way to pay for it, and I co-sponsored legislation to do that. Democrats voted against it. They're adding additional debt to the kids and grandkids of this country, and it's not a responsible way to govern, Nora.
All right, Senator John Barrasso, Republican of Wyoming. Senator, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Great to see you. Thanks, Nora.
And let's bring in MSNBC's Ed Schultz.